Today I wanted to go over NAR's consumer guide for property taxes. And so they just recently put this out, and this would apply really to everybody. Most of these consumer guides, as I've said in previous ones, are really for residential buyers and sellers. But for commercial property, sometimes there's a little differences, but for property taxes, it should be pretty much the same information. So let's just go over this. And as I've done in the past, I'm pretty much just going to read this to make sure I cover all of the points that NAR has for you. And let's jump in. Consumer Guide on Property Taxes. Whenever you buy a home or property in the United States, property taxes are a reality of ownership. An agent who is a realtor can help connect you with a tax expert in your area, but here are the basics. What are property taxes? Property taxes are charges on your land and property based on the value of your property levied by your local government. The revenue generated is often used to fund community needs such as schools, police and fire departments, and road maintenance. Some states also tax personal property such as cars and boats. Can I know the property tax on a home before I purchase it? Real estate listings, usually from your local multiple listing service, typically include information on a property's annual taxes. You can also ask the seller directly about their latest tax bill and when the property was last assessed. Depending upon the location, the assessed value, which is different from and generally less than the market value of the property, may increase based upon the amount you pay for it. How are property taxes calculated? Tax rates vary widely depending upon where you live. The most common method for calculating property taxes is by multiplying the assessed value of your local government assigns to your property minus any tax reductions by the local tax rate. The assessed value is usually calculated as a percentage of the property's market value. It reflects the overall quality and condition of the property, comparable homes in the area, and market conditions, among other factors. The other component of the equation is the tax rate, often called the millage rate or mill rate, equaling the property tax you owe for every $1,000 of your property's value. For example, if the mill rate is 1/2 of a cent, your home's assessed value is $200,000 and you are ineligible for tax reductions. The following calculation would apply. $200,000 of the assessed value minus 0 in tax deductions times 0.005 mill rate equal to $1,000 property tax. Now, I happen to think that's kind of a complicated, way to do it. It is commonly done that way. I mean, you do hear people say that, but I think it's just much easier when they quote a percentage rate. But let's get back to this. Are there property tax exemptions? Certain homeowners may qualify for tax exemption programs which can lower or even eliminate their property tax bill. Senior citizens, veterans, disabled persons, and surviving spouses are some of the homeowner groups that might be eligible. Additionally, most states offer a homestead tax exemption for individuals' primary residences. Programs and eligibility criteria vary by state, so consult a tax expert to determine which programs may apply. How do I pay my property taxes? The most common method for paying property taxes is through an escrow account, where a portion of your monthly mortgage payment is held and automatically paid toward your tax bill when it is due. You may choose to pay your taxes on your own, although in some cases your lender may require you to use an escrow account to ensure payments are made on time. And so I feel like they're probably going to talk about this in a minute, but I feel like that needs a little bit more comment. Obviously that's going to depend upon whether or not you have a mortgage or any kind of loan against your property. If you do, most lenders are going to require you to have an escrow account, and they're going to pay it to make sure that the taxes get paid, that the insurance gets paid, because the property which is protecting their loan, if something happens to that, then that affects their ability to get repaid. All right. How often are properties reassessed? Properties are generally reassessed annually to ensure any community upgrades, such as the construction of a new school and/or house upgrades, such as finishing a basement, are factored into the assessed value of your residence. And that may be true in parts of the country. I have never seen that. Most of the time, it's several years between their assessments. It had said before that it depends upon market conditions and the market value. That's true, but I wouldn't say it's 100% true, because normally they would never go down in an assessment on a property. Most of the time that doesn't happen. About the only time I think it does happen is if for some reason a property owner challenges the value and goes and is able to present evidence to show that it is not, what they're saying it's worth. And and if you think about it, if this is the major funding for a lot of local government activities like schools, fire departments, police departments, and the things that they were listing in there, they have a vested interest in trying to get as much tax as they can justify. So I can tell you my experience is that it normally does not go down, but it also normally is not reassessed every year. Okay, can I change my property tax rate? If you feel your property taxes are unfair, meaning you believe your house is not actually worth as much as it was assessed, you can appeal the assessment and request a second evaluation of the property. There's typically a short window of time for submitting an appeal, so be sure to closely follow your local municipality's instructions and timelines. So normally they only allow you to appeal when they've reassessed and they put a new value on the property. You can have other instances where things might happen. Let's say that you bought a property and the structure, whatever it might have been on that property, was dilapidated and you just tore it down. And so there is no longer any structure, and the assessment was based upon the land and the structure. And you might be able to go to them and say, hey, all that's left is this lot. Now, more than likely, they're going to, whatever you paid for that lot is probably the best you can hope for. Whether or not the structure was there and then you tore it down, they're probably going to say, well, when you bought it, you knew that you were going to have to do that. But anyway, something like that happens, you might be able to take it to them and say, hey, we bought this property. You can see by what I paid for it, it wasn't worth what you had it assessed, and we tore down the structure. All right, what are transfer taxes? Separate from your annual property tax, transfer taxes are a one-time fee charged when the title of property changes hands between seller and buyer. Transfer taxes are an important consideration and can affect the overall cost of buying or selling property. The rates vary by location, and either the buyer or seller can pay the tax, depending on local laws. So be sure to work with your agent and legal counsel in negotiating the terms of your purchase agreement. Practices may vary based on state and local law. Consult your real estate professional and/or attorney for details about the state law where you are purchasing or selling property. please visit facts.realtor for more information and resources. And so, as I said, this is a new consumer guide by NAR. They have a bunch of them. I will put a link to this consumer guide in the description below. I'll also put a link to my website. If you have any questions and you want to reach out, you can leave me a comment, or you can go to the link to my website and you can leave a question there. And so that's it. That's the consumer guide on property taxes. Again, this is very, very similar. There can be the only real differences that I would see there between a residential and a commercial property is that sometimes the tax rates on commercial properties are different than the tax rates on residential properties. And I think that it also mentioned that there are like some homestead exemptions and a few things like that. Those things are really pretty much oriented toward residential properties. Most of that would not apply to a commercial property. So that's it. We'll wrap it up, and hope you enjoyed this. If you thought it was helpful, if you don't mind, give me a like. And if you know someone else who might benefit from this, maybe you can share it with them. And I do videos on a number of topics. You might check my videos on my YouTube channel to see if there are other questions that might be answered. And again, you can reach out to me through my website. So if you like finding out about real estate related topics, you might even follow this channel. So that's it, my friends. I am David McCoy. I am based in Louisville, Kentucky, and I am licensed in Kentucky and Indiana. My company name is Otimo Properties. I do primarily commercial real estate. I do just a little bit of residential real estate, and I do some international real estate. I work with a number of international clients. So I think that I have covered all of the things I'm required to say. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.